Was the Apostle Paul the original Antichrist? Former minister and Bible college graduate Jeffrey Daugherty raises this and other staggering questions from the New Testament itself. The Christian Whistleblower asks if Jesus' original message has been warped into a fear and guilt-based control matrix. Here's Ali with more.
Thanks, Seb. Daugherty's 35 years of research challenge everyone to consider new perspectives and ask themselves, just what lies behind my religion? Are we born with original sin or the spark of divinity within?
Deep questions, Ali. Thanks. The Christian Whistleblower. We'll be watching.
Late night in the heartland. Friday night, bitches. Good to see everybody here tonight. Good to be with you tonight. We've got a lot of really important stuff to talk about tonight. We've got David Weiss with us. David from the Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole channel. And I just want to say that I have had sort of an epiphany. We'll do this real quick. I have unblocked everybody that's blocked, both on Facebook and on YouTube. And somewhere Tracy Dyer just screamed. But I've realized something, folks. I asked myself, why do people want to sit around and for 2 hours when they have to have something better to do and troll me and fight with me? Well, I realize that it's one of two reasons. Number one, they're either paid opposition, and come on, is this channel really big enough for paid opposition? I question that. Or number two, they're here because something within them feels the draw and feels the pull of the message of unindoctrination, of divinity, sovereignty, and freedom. But they act out so much because the parasite within them, and most of them are from the fear and guilt, blood magic, mind control matrix, that is Christianity, that parasite keeps acting out, but they can't quit me. So I call them my broke back bitches now. And my broke back bitches, if you can't quit me, I won't give up on you. I'm doing everything I can to stoke up that spark, to burn out that parasite in your life. So if you can't quit me, broke back bitches, I won't quit on you. You've got my pledge. You've got my guarantee. David Weiss is, in my opinion, the leading voice in the flat earth model. He has come on and talked about why he doesn't believe that we're living on a spinning ball. He's come on and talked about how and showed us some compelling visual evidence that NASA rockets are sometimes balloons. And he's talked about, and I'm going to ask him about this, if clouds have consciousness. And tonight, we're going to talk about nuclear weapons. Are they real, or are they just a part, another fear and guilt, mind control, blood magic matrix? And with no further ado, here he is, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend. He requires no introduction anywhere in the civilized world. He is David Weiss. David Weiss.
You say I'm the voice. I'm hopefully my voice will last for this show.
And you've got a lot of other shows to do, right? After this one.
I got one more after this. I've done 6 today. So
excuse me. Let us know when you have to bail.
No problem. I'm good. I forgot how many times we've had amazing discussions. So Jeff, you are a very interesting voice to listen to. I have 2 concerns tonight, though. My one concern is Alex Stein's mother, and the other one is Paige, because they're both listening to their 2 favorite men in the world. And
why is that a problem?
I don't know.
Why is that a problem?
They could overload.
You know, I call that that's like an intellectual foursome. That's like a spiritual foursome. It's like a energetic foursome without all the yucky implications.
You know, I've got my nuclear bomb behind me, but I was hoping to have some video behind me, but your bitch ass won't use stream. Well, it only uses StreamYard, which doesn't allow that. And I wanted you to use Zoom. So I called StreamYard today, and I said, hey, why can't you guys let us add video instead of just images? You know what they said to me? They said, here, we'll send you this form. You can fill it out. And they sent me a bitch ass form.
Did they?
I wanted to fill out the bitch ass form.
The little bitch report form.
The little bitch
I'm glad to see we're not the only one. I actually got in a fight with Zoom today and canceled them. I just don't like them. So I don't even have Zoom access anymore. Sorry, Dave. We'll have to go with StreamYard.
It's fine.
Good. Hey, have you done any more thinking about the clouds having consciousness thing?
Unfortunately, yeah.
And what do you think?
I'm all in.
You're all in. Okay.
I'm all in.
Well, it's certainly fascinating. Have you thought about why they seem to be so much lower than they used to be?
I think there's a war going on right above us. The whole spraying of the skies is it's beyond what I can fathom, but there's a war for our consciousness and for our connection to whatever that realm is. So
that realm is also being attacked. That cloud realm is being attacked in their consciousness, if they have one, as we're theorizing, just as though we're being attacked in our consciousness.
Yeah, it's all part of the same thing, because I believe our consciousness is the same. It's all connected.
Very, very fascinating. We'll have to talk about that more as your thoughts on that develop. So, Dave, we've talked about
I'm still unwinding from your Wednesday night show. That show was insane. I listened to it twice. I mean,
which one was that?
Wacky Wednesday, where
you weird
worms.
Wednesday.
So we're gonna, it was crazy.
There's just some crazy stuff out there. Some crazy stuff out there. So we talked about NASA balloons. I know some people think that's the most ridiculous thing they've ever heard. Watch the video, and all of a sudden you'll be saying, well, damn. We've talked about that we don't live on a spinning ball. Is there any new or groundbreaking research in the heliocentric versus the geocentric realm right now as we are here speaking?
New. The latest couple launches from Blue Horizon, which are just launching big penises into the sky. They're balloons. They're obviously balloons. And then the
dildos to the moon.
Yeah. Just check out my latest video. It's like one of the last couple videos on my Ditrh channel. It's a balloon. And at the very beginning, the first shot of it, you can see there's a dent in the balloon, a dent, like a crease, right? If that was a rocket, there's no way there'd be a crease in it. It's their balloons.
No, an airframe has to be in pretty good shape to be flying at those high speeds. So, Dave, they're sending up balloons, and nobody knows it.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Really is. And you know how I know I did it? The head shill of shills, Psyop Mandan, did a podcast and mentioned the balloon thing. So that's kind of like when Snopes says something isn't real, it's something worth looking into.
Perfect. So how long have you been thinking about and pondering about the subject of nuclear weapons?
I've heard about it for years, but it wasn't until Crow 777 did a couple shows on it, or maybe it's just only one show, where they broke down all the history of nukes and everything. And once you look at it, it's literally like the flat earth. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And if you think about it, it's all about fear and control. This whole world, they want us to believe, we're on a speck spinning through space where an asteroid could take us out. That's the whole story of the dinosaurs being wiped out. Well, we could be wiped out by an asteroid. And now they have the mother of all bombs. So we must, fight the Cold War. What Cold War? It's all about division. I believe, Tartaria in the 1800s was a worldwide, peaceful, harmonious civilization across the entire plane. And then since then, there was some reset that happened, and the people that were in charge kind of have been cutting off us from that information. So they've divided us by countries, by states, by political parties, by sports teams, by sexes, by genders. They're dividing the genders now. They have it so we can't touch each other. Now we can't look at each other's faces. You know, now you have to lower your oxygen by putting 2 masks on or 3 masks on. Actually, 4 masks is actually the safest way to go outside now. And now
they believe it.
Right. And we were joking that what Jaron and I said 6 months ago, one day they're going to say you have to stick a popsicle stick up your ass to go out. And guess what? They're doing it. Anal
They
swabs
are.
now.
It's best to swab you right in the ass.
You know what's next is the ATM swab, right?
Oh, shit. You can't get any money out of the ATM unless you get swabbed.
No. The ATM swab. First they swab your ass, and then they need to swab your mouth with the same swab.
Oh, okay. The ATM. I get it. You know what? The sad thing is people would do it. They would just,
I'm joking, but who knows? Everything we've joked at. You know, when this first thing came out, Jaron actually started up one of the shows where he had a mask on. He was just joking, right? And now it's like, if you don't have a mask on, you're the weirdo. It's friggin' crazy world. And it's because we're all lost in space.
Exactly why, because we're all lost in space. And I'm from Tampa, Florida, and they're playing in the Super Bowl. I won't watch because all the BLM bullshit. But I did actually see in the hometown paper, which I'm about to unsubscribe from. It's such a piece of trash. But the mayor of Tampa is making an outdoor mask mandate during the Super Bowl. How stupid is that?
I also read that I think in California, they're opening up restaurants, but you can't have the television on.
Why?
I guess it's because they don't want people gathering for sports games. They want to keep people separate still. I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with the Super Bowl and who the hell knows. But before we get into nukes, I want to say one thing.
Sure.
When I first discovered you didn't know about the flat earth, and you had your some guy, I forget the guy's name, who was all into space and aliens and all sorts of stuff.
Oh, you're talking about Wayne Steiger.
Yeah, Wayne. And I used to listen to him. And I don't want to say I was trolling you, but I was like, hey, Jeffrey, talk to me. And you are a guy that clearly has the ability to change your mind based on new information. I love it. Right?
Well, I appreciate that. I like to think that I am.
Yeah, well, you definitely are. I mean, look, you went from preacher to the other side of the fence, and you went from believing in a ball earth to flat earth. I mean, lots of people, most of the people that troll the flat earthers are unable to change their minds based on any information because they refuse to see it. It doesn't matter whether people think you're right or wrong. You are willing to change your mind based on new information. Like just yesterday when you fell for the same thing that I had fallen for, that Onion article, the Onion thing. And as soon as you're like, oh, it's fake, you're like, okay, you fell on the sword and you moved on. I love it.
Just for the record, that was fucking Tracy Dyer's fault. I just want to say that publicly.
You know what? Sometimes we get stuff that falls right into what we're believing, and we're like, oh man, that's too good, and then we let it go. So
that's the only mistake that I think Tracy's ever made, and she admitted it too. She fell on her sword.
But you know what? It's probably friggin' true.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's true. So, David, let's talk about these nuclear weapons. And, it just blows my mind, and it makes perfect sense because think of the trillions of dollars that have been spent on nuclear weapons, and think of all of the fear and the angst that has been spent on nuclear weapons. Think of all the threats and all the fear, all the control. And to even begin to ask, are nuclear weapons real? It's almost like asking, is the earth really round? People, it's so far beyond people's paradigm that they're like, what are you, stupid?
Right. So, and the fun thing that they all fall back to is, what about Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Am I saying that right?
I think so.
And there's so much evidence, and just it's very simple. Excuse me. The first thing is, there's video of them stacking up cases and cases and skids of TNT at what they call ground zero. So they're stacking, TNT. When you have a massive explosion of a conventional explosion, it makes a mushroom cloud. A firecracker makes a mushroom cloud, right? The bigger the
Yep.
bomb, the bigger the mushroom cloud. The funny thing is, think about what nuclear bombs are, what we're told they are, like in movies and everything. 3 days after the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs went off, the businesses were open, the trains were running, they were selling flowers on the street, the sandwich shops were opening, and people were back to work. Does that sound like a nuclear bomb?
Dave, now I have to ask this because I'm the host, but I know you and I know the answer. You've vetted this, you've seen this, you've checked it out. It's true, correct?
Well, absolutely. And the place to really, if you really want to do it, most of this information that I'm quoting you tonight is from what Crow 777 did. So I got a plug for those of you that don't know Crow 777. It's Crow with 2 R's, 777radio.com. And I'm going to save some parents a ton of money right now. If you have a kid that's college age, that's ready to go to college, do not send them to college. Find out what they want to do. Send them to, you don't even have to send them anywhere. They could figure out how to do it on the internet or find a company, let them intern for that company, and subscribe for $5 a month to Crow 777 and have them listen to every single Crow episode that's come out, and they will be smarter than any friggin' Ivy League college could make them, right?
He's that good, huh?
His stuff is amazing. His worst show is good.
I've had him on this channel a couple of times. I've never really looked at his site though, so I'll definitely correct that.
Like I had my own business, and we hired people. I had young people working for us, and old people. And honestly, if I had a row of college kids, people that graduated college, people that had business degrees, and I had a kid that took the Crow 777 education and had some field experience, that's the kid I would hire. I would pay him more than the college kid, and I'd have a better employee.
Awesome. So let's talk nuclear weapons. Nice bombs, baby. Are they real?
They're just conventional bombs. I mean, if you go back and look, now I can't show you my video. If you go back and look at, we're all shown the house that just pulverizes and the trees that bend over backwards. It's a miniature. It's a model. I mean, just go watch it. It's a miniature. And then we all saw the other one where the guys are in the bunker looking out and they see the explosion in the distance and the ship where the bomb goes off and the water goes up. Those are like the 3 things that were shown. And they're just conventional bombs and miniatures. Like the one with the ship and the water, I think that was real. I think they just had a whole string of bombs that went off in the water, blew some water in the air, and that was it.
Yep.
So think about this.
Go ahead.
Good. No, you first.
No, I did some study myself about a year ago. I think it's on this channel. I looked at the Hiroshima explosion. I looked at the Nagasaki explosion, and I looked at Dresden. And Hiroshima, Nagasaki, those were supposed to be nuclear detonations. And we all know how horrible and forever you can't do anything. But Nagasaki and Hiroshima recovered within days. And Dresden, which was supposedly a conventional strike, Dresden was pretty much done. So there's something propped up in my mind that said, wait a second, you compare the deaths, you compare the sicknesses, something's not right. And that was the first thing that started me down this road and why I'm open to discussing and entertaining the fact of whether or not nuclear weapons are real.
If you look at the damage from Hiroshima, there's a lot of buildings that are still standing. And if you look, those are the ones that had fireproofing. So a nuclear bomb doesn't care whether you have fireproofing, but an incendiary situation does. So the buildings that were still standing were the fireproof buildings. So, and the other thing is, if something's real, you do not need to regulate the information coming out about it. It gets out and the information gets out and that's it. But when something's fake, everything's regulated. There was only one reporter who was allowed to take photos and report on it to the national media. Anyone else taking photos or even discussing it was jailed.
That tells you something. Dave, when I announced the show, I got a email from a lady that lives in a part of the former Soviet Union. And the Soviet Union was famous for parading their nuclear weapons down the street. And you put them on trucks and they parade them. Well, it seems that this one parade day, one of the nuclear weapons that was loaded on the truck, the nuclear weapon came undone. And it fell over and it bounced and bounced and rolled down the street. And when it stopped, they went up and touched it. And it was plastic. It was fake. It wasn't even a real weapon.
Right. Amazing. You know, when we see Kim Jong-un with his missiles and his troops, zoom in on those troops. They're the same troops stepped and repeated like the clouds on the blue marble.
Oh my. So it's the same troops over and over again.
Yeah, it's all nonsense. Kim Jong-un is a retard from an institution who probably can barely speak. They just put him in front of a green screen. He claps, right? And he smiles. And then they're like, this is the evil dictator. Okay. He's an actor, probably like Werner von Braun and everyone else.
So he's about this much above a evil character in the Michael Myers movie.
He's literally, just go watch him and just imagine that you don't know who he is, but you were told that he's retarded, if there's no better word for it. And that's it. And you'll look at it and be like, yeah, that's not a normal person. That's not a person of high intelligence. His intelligence was slowed down, retarded.
So go ahead, continue on.
No, I was going to say, you know, we were told that in Nevada, they were testing all these nukes in the desert, you know, nuke after nuke after nuke. But meanwhile, less than 100 miles away, they're letting a bunch of gangsters build a whole city, you know, in Vegas. And what about the radiation? You know, they're blowing up nuke after nuke after nuke after nuke, but they're building a friggin' tourist city, you know, less than 100 miles away.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
David, if there's really no nuclear bombs, then how did Godzilla come about? How do you explain that one?
He came from outer space.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes perfect sense. He came from outer space. That makes perfect sense. So here's the question. If there's really no nuclear weapons, where's all the money going?
To the politicians, to, I don't know, maybe they're paying the sports teams with them. Who the hell knows?
But
maybe
what's
they're
happening?
using it for the secret propulsion program, you know, to explore the outer space across the Earth plane. There's plenty of places they can spend the money. You know, NASA's budget is $65 million a day. NASA doesn't get $1 million a day. Okay. So where's the other 64 million if they're getting $1 million a day, which I don't even think they get, right? Money is control. The leaders of this world do not need any money. Anything they want, they could type into a computer. Oh, that's $12 billion. Okay. They type into a computer, 12 billion ones and zeros goes to that company, and the company gives them whatever they want. They don't need it because they just make it. It's all funny money. It's all about control. Money is not real, or at least fiat money is not real, right? And that's why they have us. They're taking it from us, right?
And what's the best way to maintain control is to keep people in fear, right? And what's more scary than a nuclear weapon?
On a spinning ball flying through an infinite godless universe where an asteroid could take you out at any second, like it did the dinosaurs. All bullshit.
Why, Dave? Why all these ruses?
Control. It's all about control. If we knew that we were sovereign human beings with incredible powers of thought and manifestation, and that nobody has dominion over us, all of this is about control. If we knew that, hey, maybe there's other lands beyond Antarctica, hey, if we all knew that, imagine this, we have all of the elite that are running the world, which are the few. They are very few. And then you had everyone else, and we all united overnight. We're all like, hey, we're all on the same team. The elite's done. They're gnats. Go away, little gnat, right? We wouldn't have to worry about them because they're nobody. Go away. Go away. You have no power over us. It's all perceived. Money is perception. Power is perception, right? What would, just in your town alone, what if every restaurant said, fuck you, and they opened and they put twice as many chairs at every table that they ever did, and they had a sale, and everyone in town took off their masks and went? what could they do? They could do nothing, right? So they've divided the world. They've separated us. They stopped us from touching each other. I mean, humans need to electrically touch each other.
We do.
It's a powerful thing. And also the when we're walking down the street, seeing a sea of faces, all of that processing information literally is life force. It's human. It keeps us human.
It does.
And they're literally hiding. Like, I'm walking down the street, I'm like, I don't know that. I'm like, I wonder if I know that person. I don't know that. I can't tell who I'm looking at. Even when they talk to me, I'm like, who are you? Take off your mask.
Right.
So,
and I used to love it. President Trump would just get so frustrated with these people that are trying to ask him questions and won't take their mask off. You're like, look, you're 40 feet away. Take that thing off. And that's just another reason why they hated him. He was ruining their parade, and might still be. He may not be finished.
So do you know who Galen Windsor is?
I just saw his name in the chat.
Oh, Galen Windsor's in the chat?
No, somebody talked about Galen Windsor.
Yeah, so Galen
scam
is a guy that
uranium.
He eats it. He swam in the pools at the nuclear power plants, right? And he showed you that none of this radiation is real. It's not dangerous. There's no rock that's going to kill you. Now, there are some types of radiation. I'm not an expert on that, but he was showing that plutonium is not dangerous. He would eat it, and I forget how. I think they killed him. I'm not sure what his story is, but they stopped him because he was blowing the cover. Nuclear power plants, they're real. I think they might be pulling energy out of the ground for all I know. But what a nuclear power plant is, uranium does react in air and it gets hot, and they use it to boil water, and they use the steam to turn pistons. So it's a fucking steam engine. That's all it is. It's not nuclear fission reactor. If you look at Chernobyl and Fukushima, plants, animals, people living, thriving, healthy as can be. Was it a land grab? Are they hiding something? There's some stories at Fukushima where there was some history there that they might have been trying to hide. I forget the whole deal. But again, everybody, if you're not subscribed to Crow 777 Radio, go subscribe, start from the beginning, listen to the current ones that are coming out, and then just keep going from the beginning until you catch up. And by the time you catch up, you will be a different person, guaranteed.
Does he still hate me?
Nobody hates you. Oh no, everybody hates. No, everybody hates you.
Everybody hates me.
You know what? There's a lot of people that don't agree with you, that like you. There's people that agree with you, that hate you. I don't know if he hates you or likes you. I couldn't care less what he thinks about you.
Well, I kind of like him and liked having him on, so that's why I was.
You had him on. Oh yeah, you did have him on.
I've had him on a couple times, and we've had good discussions.
Yeah, Crow, Jason, and Rose, they're really doing a service for this world, in my opinion, and that is like my favorite go-to show for real information. They don't pump out.
Jason? What's Jason's name?
Jason's the co-host. Jason has Secrets of Saturn is his YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
Jason's an amazing researcher, and Rose is his girlfriend who does all the behind-the-scenes stuff. She's makes all the transcripts. She types faster than I can talk. Right?
She's a very nice lady. Rose is.
Yeah, Rose is awesome. Hopefully she's listening.
Hopefully she's listening. So, Dave, let me float this by you. Today, or the last couple of days, we just had this thing about Robinhood and about the markets and how it was an attempt by white supremacists to take down a Jewish brokerage firm on Holocaust Remembrance Day, and how horrible and terrible it was. And all it really was a bunch of guys like you and me that do day trading that were figured out that they were trying to short GameStop, and instead of letting them short it and screw us out of more money, they decided to buy it and drive the price up. So what happened was a bunch of regular guys like us and gals like us decided we're not going to let you take advantage of us again. And we did what they've been doing for hundreds of years to make trillions of dollars. And now all of a sudden it's really bad. But you know what I think it is, Dave? I think they're afraid of us because they know that we figured them out on the ball Earth. We figured them out on nuclear weapons. We figured them out on the stupid 19. We're figuring out their financial plan. We know their media plan. We know. And now they know that we know, and they know what you just said, that, wow, there's a whole lot more of them than there are of us. And if these people ever get together, we're through. So let's get mass on them. Don't let them meet together. Let's try to keep them broke. Let's, for God's sake, take their guns. Dave, they're scared to death of us, and it excites me.
Yeah, that whole GameStop thing is mind-blowing. And I listen to Gregory Mannarino. I don't know if you know who he is. He does. He's a guy that's really on top of the market. He eats, sleeps, and breathes the market. And he does a morning and afternoon wrap up of the market. And he's been dead on as long as I've been listening to him. So he closed all of his positions in the market either today or yesterday, which I found interesting. So
he got out of the market totally.
Totally. He's like Mr. Market. He completely closed every position he had in the market. So this could be a bigger event ever.
David, I'm not a financial advisor. I have a good friend who's worth about somewhere between 50 and 70 million dollars, depending upon the day. And just for what it's worth, he told me, since if Biden does finally get elected and it's confirmed and all that, that he recommends getting out of the market within 90 days.
90 days of Biden being officially president.
Yeah.
Is he officially president yet?
Well, there's a lot of weird shit going on, David.
A lot of weird shit, man.
I don't think he is officially president yet.
I think it's fucked up Friday instead of weird Wednesday.
It is fucked up Friday. And I've got a video today that, well, let's just show it really quickly and let's get your take on this video, because this is a video, and I'm gonna knock the sound out. This is a video of the supposed inauguration, and it's shot from two different camera angles. And Dave, it looks to me, and I'm going to open this up for your discussion, it looks to me, for all the world, like this is proof that this inauguration was staged, that this inauguration was shot in more than one take, and that Poppy got a little sloppy.
On different days, the sun versus the clouds, and then the whole friggin' Hunger Games thing. That's friggin' crazy.
Watch this real quick. It's just a few seconds long. It's just a few seconds long. Feast your eyes on this, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the inauguration. Come on.
All right, so we're looking at the white girl and the pink girl, right?
Yeah, the white girl and the pink girl. We're going to take a look at them.
So right now at this angle, we can see the back of his hand, right? Just remember that. So we can see the back of his hand.
Yep.
All right. So when they disappear.
Here's the girl in the white.
Yep.
And now he's going to take the oath of office.
All
pink
right.
girl, white girl. Where'd they go when they...
Hold on. We're now seeing the front of his hand. Are they to the right? Could they be to the right? Like, go back to where... So we see where his wife is. Where are they in relationship to his wife? I'm being the devil's advocate here.
That's important. They're right behind his wife on either side. They're flanking her like a triangle.
Yeah. I mean, the white girl does look to be right behind her.
Yeah.
Wait, go to the second one. Is she there behind Joe? Go back to keep going. And that would stop.
No.
She's not there.
And where's this guy has been seen the
Chinese guy, the
PLA, the PLA People's Liberation Army pin on.
Yeah.
And he's not there either. It was shot in multiple takes. It's fake. And
so do I get my Bitcoin back from Jaron?
So why is there continuation? That's what you call it in the movie business, continuation, making sure everything matches up. Why is it so bad, Dave? And now we're back.
I have that argument with myself. I don't even need to argue with anybody else. Do they purposely do it just to clue us off, or are they that stupid? I go back and forth. Right now, they're purposely doing it. I mean, they couldn't screw this up and pull off that Hunger Games match thing so well. I mean, that's crazy. Do you see Lady Gaga compared to the lady from the Hunger Games with the red dress?
Exactly like her.
Exactly.
And it's like it's just an amazing. It's a movie.
Did you see Sage Quay, Mike Williams comparison of old Joe to new Joe?
You know, since we're talking crazy, I went back and I did this. You know, I haven't done it on the air yet, but I went back. Even I am convinced that the Joe Biden of 2016 and before, but as recently as 2016, that's not the same guy that they're telling us is Joe Biden today.
No, definitely not. I mean, his ears are different. It's a different guy, but they picked a crazy senile Joe, unless he's playing the part again. Right?
So why, Dave? Why put a different Joe up there, and why put a crazy Joe up there?
To mock us? I don't know. Is the military running the country? I mean, that's our only hope, right?
It's starting to look that way. It really is. And we've got some stuff to talk about on that later, but I just don't get it. It almost blows my mind. But as I think about it, let's just talk about foreign aid. We're sending Pakistan $40 million to study gender studies in Pakistan, where, I mean, it's Islam, how much gender studies goes on. But I think what happens, and I'm convinced of it, is that they send $40 million to Pakistan for foreign aid. About 35 million of that comes back, and it gets divvied up between all these politicians. And I'm convinced that it's not just the bad Democrat politicians. Everybody gets a piece, and we've got some of these guys like Marco Rubio that play the bad guy. They play the conservative, but it's all to keep the game going, and Marco's cashing his checks just like Nancy's cashing his checks. And I'm convinced that's the case on foreign aid. Then I think about NASA. Where the hell's all that money going? And now we've got nuclear weapons. Where's all that money going? That's why it's a big club and we ain't in it. That's why they get in it and they stay in it. That's why on a salary that isn't all that impressive, Nancy Pelosi can move into almost a $70 million house. It's all money laundering.
Maybe that's where the money's going.
It's got to be. It's got to be. And once they get in, they never leave. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I just don't know.
Trump? What about Trump opening the office of the former president? Is that just to mock Joe with office of the president-elect?
I think that's an obvious troll on Joe and his office of the president-elect.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. And you know that the letter that was left on the desk, I'm pretty sure that's fake, but that's totally something Donald would do.
It is. And I don't know if you've seen this or not, David. I don't have the video handy, but you know, the inauguration was staged. The inauguration was fake. It was shot beforehand. There's some compelling video, and I'm going to pull it and talk about it next week. There's some compelling video. You got the Bidens walking up towards a building, and you see Jill's head like turn, like she just saw me with my shirt off or something, because I'm looking really good now. I've lost like 45 pounds. But she turns her head like, holy shit, what was that? And then she double takes and looks back, and then she waves, and the camera pans over there, and it looks for all the world that sitting over there off to the side is Donald J. Trump trolling their fake inauguration.
What?
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Dyer's seen it. She's insisting that Donald Trump was there.
That's fascinating.
It is fascinating. I'm telling you, it's him, David Weiss. It's him. I'll grab the video and we'll show it to you. I'll send it to you or something.
Hey, I want to tell people that this is a non-paid commercial. Jeff and I both use Echelon spin bikes in our home. How's your Echelon spin bike doing?
I just got off mine.
Nice. And so it's kind of just like what's the competitor? The
Peloton or Peloton?
The Peloton, yeah. And you do these online classes. We have yet to do a class together, but I'm always in there, Flat Earth Dave, and I'm always at the front of my class. So the teacher always like Flat Earth Dave. And so they're always calling out Flat Earth. So I want people, if you're looking for some home exercise because your gym sucks because they make you wear a mask, don't go to the freaking gym, quit your gym, buy a Peloton, right? Get it in the class and get on there and let's troll the shit out of these classes. I got 150, 250 people in a class and they're calling out Flat Earth Dave, right? It's amazing. Nice. It's super fun. I want to get other people in there.
Peloton, right? Buy an Echelon, you meant to say.
Yeah. Oh, Echelon. Yeah. So it's Echelon and the bike's about $1,000, but if you're paying, for a gym, it'll pay for itself and it's awesome. So,
you're the one that got me to buy it. I saw you talking to somebody. They said, do you have a Peloton? And you said, no, I got an Echelon and it's twice as good. And I looked it up. I'm like, damn,
it's twice as good and half the price. Right.
And I bought it. I got the one with the screen and everything. I got the fancy one.
Yeah, I just have a big TV on my wall, so I just mirror it right on the TV. It works perfectly.
And it's fun. I mean, it really is a great workout, and it's a great way to get yourself in shape, and it's just good stuff.
I came up into my studio where it is, and Paige was on it, and she's going, but she's not watching the class. She's watching Late Night in the Heartland.
Boom!
With a big smile on her face.
That's my girl. That's my girl. Dave, what else do you want to say about nuclear weapons before we take some calls before you have to get out of here?
I'll take a few calls, but nuclear weapons are as real as the globe. They don't exist. They're just to keep you afraid of annihilation.
They are. We've opened up the phone. Go ahead. Is that it?
That's it. I mean, they're provably fake. They don't exist. And so that the good news is, whenever you're hearing news, reading a story, if you hear nuclear weapons, nuclear bombs, you can ignore the entire story.
Absolutely. Here's our first caller. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with David Weiss. Go ahead.
Hi, David. I love your work. I have a question for all three of you there, mainly for the rods, but I wanted to hear what you guys had to say.
Is there three of us here?
The rods are people.
Oh,
like clouds.
Okay.
Was JFK assassinated to prevent Israel from developing nuclear technology?
You said nukes. There is no nuclear technology.
Thank you, sweetheart. I don't know. Well, I don't know. I can't weigh in on that. And we'll ask the rods. Was JFK assassinated to prevent Israel from getting nuclear technology? The rods say no, but Israel has nuclear technology, correct?
No, they don't.
Yeah.
They have.
They have.
In all reality.
Thank you, David. They claim to have it, but they don't have it.
Right.
Gotcha.
The whole Samson option, where they'll nuke, where it's a assured annihilation. It's nonsense. We cannot destroy this world. It's more resilient than you think. We can damage it. Absolutely.
Francois asked David, so Hiroshima is fake news? Question mark.
Well, there was a big explosion in Hiroshima, but it was a conventional explosion of TNT. And 3 days later, everything was up and running again. Yes, there was some damage and some fire, but it was a staged explosion, not done by nuclear bombs. It was done by dynamite.
I agree with that. It was a new. There was
a big.
Sorry, just getting onto Facebook on here. Steve says for some reason he believes the whole inauguration was fake. We got to see these bastards get taken down. Absolutely. All right, let's go to another phone call here. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with David Weiss.
Yeah, I have a question about the all the supposed nuclear tests that they've done. Like, I watch Dutch Sense, and he's always showing, they have all the marks for this explosion, that explosion. So say you're right, which I believe you probably are, because it seems like everything they tell us is a lie. But what do you think they're trying to accomplish by destroying that piece of dirt?
What in Nevada?
Yeah.
They're just trying to destroy our minds to think that nukes are real. So they were experimenting with some bombs. That's it. Maybe they're just learning how to use their Moabs and whatever, but they're not nuclear bombs. And Vegas proves that. I mean, there's no radiation in Vegas. There's no radiation in Chernobyl or anywhere. Everyone is living and thriving. Plants, animals, and people are always thriving. They've never left any of those places. If nukes were what they said they were, none of that would be true.
Luther's asking, where is your proof? What would you say to Luther, Dave?
Go to Chernobyl. There's people living there. Plants are growing there. Food is coming out of there, right? Go to, there's more cancer in the United States than there is in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, right? If it was what they tell us, the place would still be radiated for, forever.
Right. That's what they tell us. I mean, a nuclear bomb goes off and there's nuclear winter and nothing is there forever, ever, ever.
Yeah, and the fact that only one reporter could report and anyone that takes a picture or writes anything about it got jailed, that's insanity.
Repeat that part, Dave, because I don't think people caught that.
So after the bombs went off, there was only one, like, Associated Press or whatever group they were in, one reporter. I don't know his name, but I'm sure Rose is screaming at the top of her lungs if she's listening right now. And he was the only one allowed to take photos and send information out to the newswire, and anyone else that reported on it or took pictures was arrested and jailed.
It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with David Weiss.
Hi. I have a question in reference to Kim Young being an actor, whatever. If that is true, then what does that say about Donald Trump? Because he never acted on like he was an actor. I think
Donald Trump is an actor. Now, was Donald Trump trying to help this country? Maybe. Do they have something on him? He was at Epstein Island. Maybe they have, more stuff on him. Is Donald Trump trying to break the system? I couldn't tell you. I'm not Donald Trump. It's very possible. But again, I'm not going to sit on my hands and wait for him to bring in the cavalry. But, maybe he was an outsider. Maybe not. I think that everything that we see is a stage, right? Everything is so fake and a stage that it's mind blowing. You know who said the world is a stage? Jeffrey? Who said the world is a stage?
Shakespeare.
Yeah, Shakespeare didn't even exist. Okay?
Exactly.
He's a fiction, right? But he's the one that said the world is a stage. So the world is a stage and it's fake as fuck.
That's a great point. The guy that supposedly said the world is all a stage and each of us play a part, he wasn't even real.
Yeah, you know who said it? Helen Keller said it. Oh, she wasn't real either.
She wasn't. Now, Elvis did say it, and Elvis was real.
I'll give you Elvis.
Are you lonesome?
There's a theory out there that you're actually Elvis.
Me?
Yeah.
Elvis is older than me, man.
All right.
That's possible, though. I mean, I've heard crazier things. But doesn't
have you looked into North Korea? What North Korea really is? There's some crazy buildings in North Korea. There's a building that's taller than the World Trade Towers were, that was built in North Korea. It was built long, like over 100 years ago. And it's still there. They refaced it, but it was a Tatarian building.
Now, I've been in the DMZ when I was in the Air Force, but obviously I didn't go into North Korea. So you're telling me there's a building taller than the Twin Towers in North Korea?
Correct. And it's an old school building. It's crazy. It's a Tatarian building. So maybe, just like the World's Fairs, they didn't build those buildings and then knock them down. That was buildings that were here. They had the World's Fairs and then they knocked them down. So Tataria, North Korea might be part of the old world still living. I don't know. I haven't been there. I've seen a couple people that have done some weird tours showing some weird things, very stage looking. But I think the North Korea building is on my channel, Ditrh. If you look up North Korea, it might be there. It might be in a playlist. I got to find it.
So is it possible that that's the reason for the great secrecy and hush hush, and the fact that, outside of Antarctica, there may not be a harder place to go to in the whole across the whole plane than North Korea.
Maybe North Korea is the secret place for the cabal. I couldn't tell you. I haven't been there.
It doesn't really make any sense, but then on the other hand, it makes a ton of sense.
I mean, look at Kim Jong-un, that fat, dumb, smiling, clapping moron. I mean, if he's such a threat, they would have shot him in the head a long time ago.
Yeah.
Right? He would have been done.
I don't know, David. It's late night in the Heartland. You're live with David Weiss.
Hey, Jeff, happy to be here. I would like to know your opinion on radiation, because as far as popular science goes, I mean, radiation is a big deal. It's a part of the reason why I take like nascent iodine. Are you familiar with the USS Ronald Reagan outside of, Fukushima, the Fukushima radiation meltdown, nuclear power meltdown?
And all the sailors got sick, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Thanks for the call. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're all lying or if they did get sick or if they were exposed to something. There is radiation, but not from nuclear bombs. You know, like X-rays. You don't want to be in an X-ray for a long time. And there's all sorts of radiation. I'm not the expert on that. But there's probably a Crow 777 radio show on it that if you really want to learn, just search the archives and watch that. I'm telling you, that's the show. Everybody, if you're not listening to that, you're not as informed as you could be. I don't want to say you're uninformed, but you could be more informed.
Wow. Tell us before I forget about the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app.
Yeah, so that's why I created this app, because of the censorship on YouTube. It shows you how the stars work, how the sun, the sky is a perfect clock. The sun, it keeps track of the hours and the days. The moon keeps track of the and its positions, keep track of the weeks and the months. And the stars keep track of the seasons and the years. And what it does is every day there's a new featured video on it. I do short ones during the longer ones on the weekend. And I say, if you have any doubts about flat Earth, get the app, take the challenge. 2 weeks, watch the video every day. And at the end of that 2 weeks, if you have one proof that we live on a globe, send it to me. I'll give you your $2.99 back, and I'll give you a full Bitcoin. Right? That's the deal. But what happens is people get it and they say, well, I don't want to wait the 2 weeks.
Like $10,000, isn't it right now or something?
No, 37,000.
And you're going to give one of those away, huh?
And what happens is people, they get it and they say, well, I didn't want to wait. So I hit the archive button. I haven't slept in 2 days. And holy crap, the earth is flat. What do I do? And I'm like, welcome.
Absolutely. Our cook wants to know why you don't go infinite plane.
I might be an infinite plane. I'm down. I kind of like infinite plane. I like that there's other realms beyond us. But again, we can't get beyond Antarctica. So that's all speculation. You know, if someone put a gun to my head and said, what's beyond Antarctica? And if you get it wrong, you're dead. I'm going to say there's more lands and more oceans beyond Antarctica.
Yeah. And then you have people like Antoinette that comes in, and she's obviously doesn't seem to me to be that big of a thinker. She says, prove your flat earth stuff.
We can see too far. I mean, here's a shot of an oil rig. There should be 59 feet of curvature, but we can see the water for tens of miles beyond it, which should be hundreds of feet of curvature, right? We can see too far. The world is flat. Proven right there. Now prove your ball, right? Just one proof and you get a Bitcoin.
One proof, Antoinette. One single proof could be worth nearly $40,000 value to you. One proof.
Jeff, I'll prove the space station. Look, I'm on the space station.
You are. It looks just
this is all they do. My budget's $0 here. And if someone says, hey, the photos of Earth, this is a NASA photo of Earth. If you look right here, if we measure from Baja across California, we can see that that's 934 miles, measurable, testable, provable. And if the Earth has a diameter of 7917, we'd have to fit 8.5 of those in between those two red lines. And as you can clearly see, that's wrong. So either the Earth is tiny, right? The Earth is 5,000 miles around or something, or NASA's lying and we didn't go to the moon?
Well, we pretty much know that one, don't we?
Right.
Well, Dave, how
Well-
do we get here? I mean, how do we get here? We're a couple of guys that are fairly educated. You know, we've been in a lot of places. We've done a lot of things. And here's two guys that otherwise look normal. And we don't believe we're living on a spinning ball. We believe that a lot of NASA's rockets are balloons. And we think we've proven these things, that nuclear weapons aren't real. How do we get here?
You know what? I think there was an awakening. The vibration of the earth, the energy of the earth changed. And I put the line at 2012, the end of some Mayan cycle, and people are waking up. And those people that are willing to quiet their minds and connect with their souls and take care of their bodies and their minds, and and eat well and think good thoughts, those are the ones that are allowed, that are receiving the information. This is very clear to see. I mean, there's no way you can convince me that the earth is a ball. Imagine if everyone thought the earth was stationary and flat, everybody. And I came on your show trying to tell you, no. I don't care that water is perfectly glass and mirroring that mountain in the distance. The earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. It's orbiting at 66,600 miles an hour. It's chasing the sun at 500,000 miles an hour, and it's going sideways at 1.2 million miles an hour. You would think I'm the craziest person on earth, and there's no way you'd even listen to me, right?
Yep.
It's 2021, and people still think we live on a spinning ball. What the fuck is going on, right?
That shows
crazy.
how effective.
Yeah.
That shows how effective propaganda is and how effective programming is. And Dave, I got to do it. The same people that believe that are the same people that believe in a God that says, love your neighbor as yourself until I tell you to go kill them all. And the same God that says that I'm a God of love, but he also says he's a God of wrath and a God of anger, and he visits the sins down to the third and fourth generation. And in a Jesus that says, I'm the Prince of Peace, and then says, I came not to bring peace, but a sword. And most of all, a God of love and a Jesus of love, who have already said that about 95% of the people they've ever created are going to burn forever, not even burn up, but burn forever in a nuclear firebomb lake, Dave.
Oh, nuclear, get rid of everything. Nukes are done. When you hear nuke, just laugh. Laugh. When you're hearing nukes on the news, just laugh.
Yep.
Play the nuke drinking game. When you listen to the news, every time they say a nuke, get a drink.
Absolutely.
Drink a
That's
beer.
a great game.
A horrible idea. You'll be drunk all the time.
Well, that's an easier way to get by sometimes, I guess. Then I don't drink, so I don't know. But it's a crazy, crazy world. It really is. And where's the nuclear football? Who cares? The nuclear football is not real.
Yeah. I often wonder, maybe there are some presidents, I probably doubt it, but that don't know that nukes aren't real and think they have a nuclear football. I mean, they might have a football that actually launches bombs that are all conventional bombs. There's no nuclear bombs.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Let's sneak one more in here, and then we'll let you go. I know you got a lot to do. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with David Weiss.
Hi, it's Last Answer. Hi, David.
Hey there.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming on the show again. I love your content.
Thanks
I
so
have the
much.
app, by the way.
Thanks.
The reason you're welcome. The reason I called is I was hoping we could use the rods and test on a couple things.
Call back later. We'll do that later in the second hour, okay? Did you have a question specifically for Dave?
Yeah, he was talking about the water 8 miles down, and I wanted him to talk about that.
Yeah,
So,
Dave, could you explain the curvature math so that people can understand it more easily?
Was she asking about that or about the Great Porthole? I'm not sure, but I'll
Either
touch on
one.
both.
Explain both, and we'll let you out of here.
So the deepest hole ever dug is just short of 8 miles, like 7.5 miles. And that's equivalent to drilling through the skin of an apple, barely getting through the skin. Okay, less than the skin, right? And when they were doing it, they were using ground penetrating radar to see what they were going to hit next, and they were wrong. They're like, hey, there's no more water, and then they hit water. Hey, there's no more rocks, then they hit rocks. So the ground penetrating radar can only tell them what's like a couple feet below them, but it's not accurate. But then they hit an impenetrable barrier where they couldn't drill any deeper for whatever reason. And they never got any deeper, but somehow they knew what a cross section of the earth looks like with all the layers and the molten lava in the middle and stuff. That's pseudoscience. That's just made up nonsense. We grew up on a meme of the cross section of the earth, and everyone thinks that's science. They call us anti-science. No, we know that we don't know what's below the skin of the friggin' apple, right? And so, what was the other part of the question? I forget.
She had asked you about the water in the 8 miles. I'm not sure if she was talking about how far what is the curvature?
The math curvature. By the way, on the app, if you hit the little web button, the curvature calculator is there. So you can actually, if you know how far something is, you can figure out how much of curve it should be behind. It's 8 inches per mile squared. Very simple. 8 inches for the first mile. Second mile is as you go, it drops off faster and faster, right? So your tangent line, it can't just be 8 inches, 8 inches, 8 inches, because that's a slope. It actually goes over fast. So second mile, 2 times 2 is 4, times 8 is 32. 3 miles is 6 feet. So a 6 foot tall person standing at the edge of calm water should be able to see the water surface for 3 miles, and then the water should just dip behind the physical curve, and there's your physical horizon, right? So people, and as it goes farther away, things will disappear from the bottom up if we lived on a ball. But we can see too far. I mean, there's so many examples. I showed you that oil rig. I don't have any other pictures here because we're not on fucking Zoom. Give me one of the sheets. I'm filling it out. And we can see too far, period. Now with our infrared cameras, we can see way too far. And the thing is, the last thing, and then I'll go, is people say, why can't I see Mount Everest? Why can't I see Europe? And the main reason is, one, the angular size of things gets really small. But I'm dying here. You can't see that far through the soup of the atmosphere. So there's this one spot in Luge, France, where there's a view where you can see out over the water, and Mount Canigou is out in front of you, but you can't see it. There's just a flat, empty horizon, right? But Mount Canigou is 175 miles away, which would mean the top of Mount Canigou should be a mile below a physical curve of the earth, a mile, right? But on 2 days a year, when the sun lines up, so if this was Mount Canigou here, you can't see it because the air just becomes too opaque and it's just not there. But when the sun goes beyond it, it backlights the sun, and you can see it with the sun backlighting it, and it's there. And not only can you see the top of the mountain, which should be a mile below the curve, you can see the entire mountain. So that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt, it's not a mirage. The earth is flat. We can see too far. Game over.
Absolutely. David Weiss, deep inside the rabbit hole. Where can people find your information?
theflatearthpodcast.com, Flat Earth Podcast on your phone app, and the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. If you have a phone, just point the camera right there, and the app will come up. If you're on Android, you need 8.0 or higher, and iPhone, you need an iPhone 6 or better.
And on the way out the door, Antoinette wants to know, so are all the planets flat, Dave?
There are no planets, Jeff. They're wandering stars. They're points of energy. They're named after gods. They're sentient, if you ask me. Maybe they're fallen angels. I don't know what they are, but they're not, rocky balls. I mean, the only thing that we see, these pictures come from NASA and Disney is more credible than NASA. So, we're brainwashed into, and all the questions that you have are all programmed from the Flat Earth Society. They've literally brainwashed people. People are like, are all the planets flat? What about falling off the edge of the earth? If the earth was flat, cats would push everything off the edge. What about sunsets? What about sticks and shadows? What about boats over the horizon? If the earth was flat, when an eclipse happened, it would look like this, it would look like a sliver, right? None of that is anything that we believe. And it's provable. All of these things are provable. All of the information is in the app. It's all in the 21 questions. Just hit the question mark, and every question you have is in there. And then you can see it for yourself, and you can do the test yourself, and you can figure it out. And then you can take your power back. And the analogy I use, and I'll just tell you real quick, and then I'll go, is my favorite movie. One of my favorite movies is the documentary with Keanu Reeves called The Matrix. Right? You familiar with it?
I am.
So at the beginning, Keanu is depressed. He's lost. Something's wrong. His soul knows the truth of the world, but his conscious mind is lost in the matrix. And so he's depressed. He's not connecting with his soul. And at the end of the movie, he knows who he is. He knows where he is. He knows what he is. He took his power back and he became his own true divine self. That's what flat earth does for people. And that's what they don't want, because we all are Neo at the end of that movie. And they don't want us to know that we have that power of manifestation.
Absolutely. David Weiss, so glad to have you back. Whenever you can come on, let me know. And let me know when there's another Flat Earth conference. I'll make sure I'm there this time.
I will do. There's one coming in March or February. I'm not sure. I'll let you know.
Well, send me the info, and I will definitely make sure to be there. Appreciate it, Dave. Give my regards to your broadcast partners in Crow and Rose, and also Paige, if you as well, of course. Paige is the best. Paige is the rage. I had a song for her. Did you hear the Paige song?
I did. She told me.
All right, Dave. Thanks, buddy. We really appreciate it. Have a good show wherever you're headed to.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. David Weiss, deep inside the rabbit hole, ladies and gentlemen. Great stuff. And, that's what this is about. And I remember he's talking about Neo. I remember, what is this, 2021, and it was 2003. And I had just finished, it was 2004, and I just finished my third year in a row of making ridiculous money. And I'm sitting in a beautiful house on the shores of Lake Tahoe, looking out past my brand new Land Rover, sitting on my banging ass leather couch and the awesome, huge, big screen TV and the brand new NHL hockey gear. And I just got back from the NHL All-Star game, staying on the top floor of the W in the penthouse. And I realized I wasn't happy because I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. And then moved till 2014. I'm broke as a joke. I'm living in one of the smallest trailers you've ever seen on the shores of another lake, but it was just outside the ghetto in Orlando, Florida. And I just started this channel, and I was as happy as I've ever been. And of course, I'm happier now, but you can have the whole world. You can have everything in it, but you're not going to be happy until you find your great basic purpose and until you're flourishing and prospering. And that's some of the things that we teach through White Dianetics. I know you don't like it, and that's okay. You don't have to have it. But if you want it, we're talking about it every Sunday, and here we are. Come and get it. Let's grab some of these calls before we take a break. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey man, how's it going?
It's going great.
I was going to ask this question because I've always been really fascinated with, Gaia TV. They have, people who are under hypnosis who talk about the Mars program and things like that. And I was wondering if perhaps maybe Earth itself was just, and have you ever considered this as well? If Earth is just either 20 times bigger, and that's why we can't measure the curvature correctly, and we're just given a certain portion, or is Earth, like, I've also heard that Earth is like some sort of zoo that they made like some pristine, they look on it and they have some contract. Have you ever considered that? And what do you say to those who talk about the Mars programs?
Well,
and maybe like that's why they're faking the the videos so we can't see what they're seeing.
Well, I think a lot of I go back and forth on this, and you're kind of putting me in a tough spot, but I'm going to answer it straight up. I think a lot of those people, I did an interview with Carrie Cassidy of Project Camelot, and Carrie found out Carrie Cassidy, my bad. What did I say?
No, I was like, that's the name?
Yeah,
Okay.
Carrie Cassidy, Project Camelot. And I found out I was in the Air Force, and she's like, Jeff, you should do some regression and find out if you were in the secret space program. And a lot of these guys and gals that say they've been in the secret space program, that is a great way to build a huge YouTube channel, to get huge speaking fees, and to make a lot of money. That's one reason why we hear so much about the secret space program.
The people who have done it, they don't seem to. And Corey Good seems pretty knowledgeable.
You don't think Corey Good is cashing big checks? Are you serious, man?
Well, he's the one that I think might be, but the other
dude, Corey Good, David Wilcock, I can go down the list.
Corey Good's the one who I believe is, but the other ones aren't. So,
dude, if you go down the list, all those people are big stars. They're big stars in this genre. Now, I think part of it is chasing the dollar. And also another part of it is there's a thing called MK Ultra, where this person, I've had a guy in this channel, I can't remember his name right now, but he seemed like he really believed that he was fighting spiders on Mars. I don't think for a second he was fighting spiders on Mars, but he believes he was, because I think he's a product of MK Ultra. And some people are just crazy. Some people are just nuts. Okay. So you add those three things together, and I think you've got the whole secret space program all wrapped up.
I understand that. Okay, I've been having some weird experience, and I haven't had any psychiatric issues, and I've been waking up at night from an electric bolt. It feels like, and it's almost like I get fed just a bunch of images, and it's hard to put together, and it ends with something like an extraterrestrial, but it's like a stamp. And it's like they're trying to communicate, but it's like I've only gotten that this last week.
Yeah.
But it's been like 4 different times. Yeah. And
that's kind of weird.
I'm wondering if there's something else like to it. It's like there's like geometric shit, fucking 1,000 goddamn frames going in 10 seconds. And it wakes me up.
You know what? You sound like a very smart guy. You sound like a guy. You sound like a guy that's very smart. I get the sense that you're a guy that might have a purpose, and you got something to do and something to share, and a message perhaps for other people. And you might be a victim of diversion, subversion. They might be trying to get you off your track. That's just what came to me. I'm sharing it with you. Take it or leave it. But I appreciate your call.
Sure. Yeah.
And yeah, that's some weird shit, bro.
Some weird shit. Yeah.
Don't eat pizza late at night. That would be my other advice.
I go to bed early, man. I try, I go to bed early, I meditate and shit. And
well, good for you. You'll be fine. I really appreciate the call. Thanks a lot. You're going to be fine. You got no worries. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty. You want Rod questions, don't you?
I sure do.
Give me the first one.
So the first one is, somebody said in the chat that the Earth is like a geode.
Is the Earth like a geode? The rods say no. What's your next one?
The next one is the myth of limited resources. Is that a deep state lie?
Is the whole idea of limited resources a deep state lie? Yes, absolutely. I agree 100% with that, by the way.
Okay, and then I had something to share.
All right, share it.
So you've been talking about what was it you were talking about? Well, I'm just going to tell you what I heard. I heard something when I was Buddhist, and I wanted to share it with you. There's 2 terms.
Okay.
One is called Dotai Ishin, and Dotai Ishin means many in mind, one in body, and it means like the mob mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Itai Doshin. Oh, now I remember when you were talking about fascism.
Okay.
And Itai Doshin means one in mind, many in body.
I like it. I like it.
It just came to me when you were talking about fascism today, on the last show.
And that's what we have to be. I think we have to be many in body, one in mind, one in spirit, one in purpose. And when we do that, we can't be defeated. We can't be held down. We can't be repressed. We can't be oppressed. We will win this thing. And I am convinced that we're still going to win this thing. 100% convinced that we're still going to win this thing. Somebody sent me an email that says, I have personally seen nuclear weapons. Well, I've personally seen NASA rockets too, but that doesn't mean that what they claim to do with them is real. Now, I have no doubt when you're talking about NASA rockets, I have no doubt that some of them are balloons. In fact, I would say most of them are balloons, but I also have no doubt growing up in Florida and having been to NASA, I've seen them, touched them. So they do have some that they roll out that are real, but that doesn't mean they're all real. And just because we see them, I've been into silos and have seen quote unquote ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, in those silos. That doesn't mean that they do what they say they do. Like David was saying, they're most likely, and again, Occam's razor is what I go by. Occam's razor is the simplest explanation is the best explanation. And you got to prove something to me before I'm going to believe it. And the simplest explanation, based upon what we've seen at Hiroshima, Nagasaki, what we've seen in Chernobyl, what we've seen in Fukushima, is that those are kind of two different things. But the nuclear explosions, the facts all show, and the discernible evidence all shows that those were just massive conventional explosions. And massive conventional explosions look just like nuclear explosions with the quote-unquote trademark mushroom cloud. The fact that they've been blowing up so-called nuclear stuff in the Nevada desert forever, and Las Vegas is there 50 miles away doing a booming business. You know, you don't have to prove that nuclear weapons aren't real. You've got to prove they are real. Just like you really don't have to prove the earth is flat, you have to prove that it's not flat, because we've always believed up until just a few years ago that we were the center of the universe and that everything revolved around us and that we lived on a flat plane. It's the heliocentric ball theory that's new. That's what has to be proven. And if it's so real and it's so true, why can't they put a GoPro on the next nuclear missile they send up and point it back towards Earth? All I want is one non-doctored photograph of Earth from space, and I will shut my face. But you've never seen one. And my conviction is you never will, because they can't take a picture of it because they don't want us to see what it looks like. And you've already seen pictures from, you know, hundreds and hundreds of miles up, and it's flat as a pancake, ladies and gentlemen. Where's the curvature? It doesn't work. The math doesn't work. The so-called science doesn't work. And the only reason we believe it is because everyone believes it. And it's time for us to be smarter and better people than that, in my humble opinion. So this is our last show of the week. We're going to go ahead and take our first break. And when we get back, we will get right back to your calls. We're here straight up to the top of the hour. So if you have a call or a question, if you have an answer, if you can be polite, if you can be interesting, we invite you to call in. You don't have to agree with me at all, but we do invite you to call in, and we look forward to hearing what is on your mind. And this is Late Night in the Heartland. I am Jeffrey Daugherty, and in these days, boy, we could all use some brain optimization, and my friends over at Focus Life Force Energy are all about brain optimization, maybe a little more brain optimization, and you won't have to wonder if you're living on a spinning ball or a flat plane. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. You're watching Late Night in the Heartland, and we'll be back with your calls right after this message.
Subscriptions include the brain optimization program. This is brain optimization for our modern world, which, you know, today is including more and more EMF or electromagnetic fields. And we look at those as either positive electromagnetic fields, which the earth and our bodies produce those, or negative or consciousness lowering electromagnetic fields. And that's really what we're concerned with. So this brain optimization program is designed, along with the rest of FLFE, to provide more life force energy, or as Chinese medicine calls it, qi, to the body. And the body is optimized through the flow of qi and life force energy throughout the body. And the brain optimization program provides more of this energy to the brain, particularly where it's most needed.
The FLFE environment is supported through something we call programs. The programs are positive declarative statements that are measured using consciousness kinesiology as taught or explored by Dr. David Hawkins. And those programs are very high level of consciousness thought forms. If you're familiar with the Hawkins map, they're at 999, out of 1,000 or higher. So there's a lot of work that goes into those. It's a very labor-intensive process. It's a labor of love, but it does take some time and effort. So they're very specifically crafted. And in the brain optimization program, they are oriented to optimize the brain. So during the day, the FLFE programs support increased functioning in the brain. Increased functioning are things like increased concentration and stamina, so we can study longer and retain more information, or be more present for those meetings or conversations. At night, the FLFE environment supports enhanced rebuilding of the physical aspects of the brain, which is very much in alignment with the innate intelligence of the body. We just use the environment to enhance that so that our quality of life is increased.
That's Focus Life Force Energy. Go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the FLFE logo. You can get up to 30 days free. I recommend you just grab it because Cynthia and I have never looked back. We're so glad that we have it, and it is an everyday part of our life, both on our phones and in our home. So Focus Life Force Energy. Don't be without it. You'll never regret it. Let's go ahead and get back to the phone lines right now. And it's late night in the heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, first of all, St. Louis loves you, man.
Hey.
And also, I would like to know if you've heard of the rods of God, and if so, what's your opinion on that?
I've heard of it, but I don't recall what it is. Would you please explain it to me?
Okay, so it's in outer space, and it's basically a missile as big as a telephone pole, and when they drop it down from that many feet, it'll do damage like a nuclear blast, but without all the radiation and all that. It's pretty crazy. If you look it up, they got it on YouTube, and you can see it. It's pretty wild, man. It's really scary.
You know what hits me is if you've been faking nuclear weapons for a long time, you might want to come up with something like a rod of God. So if people are starting to figure out you've been making this nuclear shit up, then you've already got, oh, we're not doing that anymore. We got the rod of God, which does the same thing and has less side effects. So that's my take on it. But yeah, I mean, one of these days, maybe we'll stop spending billions of dollars on how to bust stuff up and start spending those dollars on how to put things back together. That'd be a nicer world, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Stay good, my patriot friend.
Thank you, my patriot friend. We're standing, and we're not about to lose this thing. It's late night in the heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeffrey, it's Catherine in Ohio.
Hey, Catherine, what's up, my friend?
Hey, so, I was just thinking about Galileo.
Yep.
And I was checking out some brief information on him. And one thing that always confused me is that, why in the world the Catholic Church was saying, that we were heliocentric, and then, Galileo challenges it and he dies. And then, and they were saying that there was like actual scriptural proof that, we were the center of the universe on Earth in the script.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I'd love to see a show on that, honestly. And
well,
unless you already did one and I missed it. I don't.
You know, I've been thinking about doing that, and that's almost a no-win for me. But the fact of the matter is that, you know, you've got flat earth people, you know, people that believe in the flat earth model like David that aren't religiously based. He's just a logic based. He found it just through study and through understanding. But you've got a lot of other people in the flat earth movement that don't have the integrity and don't have the study behind them of David. They believe it just because somebody convinced them that the Bible told them that. And you get this divide in the flat earth movement. And of course, anything that Christians get involved in, if you don't believe every single thing of their stuff, then you're an asshole and can't even play. So I almost don't even want to go there because, you know, I do believe that we don't live on a spinning ball, but it's almost impossible to engage Christians that believe that the earth is flat in anything other than just talking about the earth being flat. And even then they can't leave it. They've got to come after you if they know that you don't agree with every one of their little hobby horses. So it's a tough thing. I probably should do it, and I'll take it into consideration.
I mean, I get it. Oh, hello. Okay.
You're with me. You're still with me. You have what else is on your mind?
Yeah, no, I was just saying, I get a sense that there's something to it. Because, like, why in the world did the Catholic Church change its mind, basically? Like, why did the narrative change? You know, and I'm just like, I'm thinking there's something more to it, you know.
I agree.
And I bet you work your magic on it, you're going to find something really interesting. I just get a sense.
I agree. That's good stuff. That is really
Great
good
show,
stuff.
dude.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. I love the deep thinkers we've got at this show. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff. It's me, Mr. Killwill.
Hey, my
Mr.
friend.
Hey, how you doing? Brandon dropped the ball on asking a bombshell question. So I got pick up the ball and I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to ask the what you call the rods. I'm going to ask the rods, and I'm going to get off the phone.
Okay.
Are there other unknown hidden continents?
Are there other unknown to us hidden continents? The rods say an emphatic yes.
Thanks. All right. Enjoying the show. Talk to you later.
Thank you. Always good to have you. Call back again soon. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hello, Jeff. This is John in Tulsa.
Hey, John. How's it going?
Hey, it's going good, man. I don't know how to explain it, but anyway, what I called about was I'm convinced that they are indoctrinating us from the time we're little bitty. I know when
absolutely
when I was a child, I can remember. I'm very young, like about 2 or 3. I can remember having dreams about flying through the atmosphere. I could go anywhere in the world, or being underwater and with no breathing apparatuses, and seeing all the creatures and all this kind of thing. And I had these most fabulous nightmares or dreams of very exciting things, and then you had no bounds on you.
Right.
And then you go study and you go to learning, and then you find out that they put fluoride in the water and stuff that calcifies your pineal gland, which is one of the parts of your brain that is just magnificent when you study the brain and how it works.
Absolutely.
That, and you see in these ancient paintings and stuff and statues and things of the Sumerians and different ones, where they have these pine cones, and they got these pine cones that they're holding. This pine cone is what that gland, it looks like. It's a pine cone. And the Catholic Church has it in the Vatican. You can see it it's on the top of their staff and all these other things. It's all around. It's part of these old ancient religions. And we don't know about that stuff. We're just finding out about it because of the internet and all of this. It's taken us to it. But they have been trying to keep our brains so we can't do what we were made to do with our brains. And it's just, I just feel like there's a conspiracy going on all the time in the government and everything else around us. And we're just so dumbed down. We don't know what to do.
You're absolutely right, John.
That's where they want to keep you.
You're absolutely right. And that's what they want to do. They want to keep us in that place. I appreciate you calling in, John. Always do.
Okay.
Take care, my brother. All right. It's late night in the heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hello, Jeff. My name is Chris from California.
Hi, Chris.
How are you today? Thank you. And love the show. It's first time caller.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to get a couple thoughts out there and see what you thought about it.
All right.
Have you ever looked into how in many things, whether it's religion or secret societies, psychedelics are, specifically DMT, even like in Masonic rituals? It's very prevalent. It's even in some Masonic Bibles. And one of the stories is Night Kadash, apparently. And when you look into that story, he's sleeping under a cedar tree, and there's this kind of mythology behind, you know, sleeping and having in a dream state, getting a revelation, right? Getting the word of God talking to you. Well, we endogenously produce DMT in many things, our kidney, liver, and I think our spleen, but it's speculated in obviously the pineal gland, but no one can harvest a pineal gland while it's living and, you know, confirm that safely. So
right.
It's always been speculation, but there is very well in-depth documentation for Eastern mysticism and all of that. So one of the other things is that it's very connected to cedar trees. Cedar trees are highly enriched in DMT, and to the point to where in Lebanon, there's the ringing cedars of Lebanon.
Yep.
And they literally, you know, push out ohms. You can measure the amount of ohms that's being pushed out from the pine needles. And ohm is the chant that, you know, in Hinduism, it's one of the main chants that if people were into that, it's the main vibration that can unlock that, essentially the Kundalini spirit to open up and possibly have that experience. So I don't know if you've ever looked into that, but it's even in like Masonic stuff.
Yeah, well, that's interesting stuff. Did you have a question for me, or just that have I looked into that stuff?
Just any of that type of stuff, and whether, you know, if you had a personal preference beyond that, because I know that there is the whole engineering you can look into with Dave McGowan's book, and how a lot of the 60s was really orchestrated by the CIA. But
right.
With every truth, they wrote people in with the bullshit. So
yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's all nonsense and it's all just, you know, going deep diving through space in your internal space. There's a whole other mindset that people used to live by, you know?
Well, it is interesting. It's a fascinating study. My conviction, and again, when I say my conviction, I'm talking about literally 40 years of study across the spiritual spectrum. And there's not a lot of people that can say they've got 40 years of full-time study across the spiritual spectrum. And I'm one that does. And what I found is that the biggest problem that we have as humans is when we allow our analytical mind to be reduced. And when our analytical mind is reduced, that's when external things that are not good for us can get into our mind, and they become things that will enslave us. So I'm very, very loath to do anything that is going to lower my analytical mind, mainly because you've said it very well. We've got these substances within us through working on ourselves and doing the inner work, and through meditation, and through, you know, cold thermogenesis, and through, you know, infrared sauna, and through many other practices. We can tap into these natural innate substances within us. And not only, in my opinion, is it a shortcut when you want to smoke something or lick a frog or, you know, takes a hit of acid. It's not only a shortcut, it's not only lazy, but it reduces your analytical mind and can be dangerous. I'm all for the natural usage of all of our faculties and all of our biochemistry. And I'm very much against the shortcutting of any of it, because it all comes down to laziness in a Burger King, have it your way, in a minute or less type of mentality. That's my opinion. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, how's it going, Jeffrey?
Going great. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm a flat earther that believes, forget all the details and wonder what's on the other side. Who are these people? What's their technology? I think they're about to roll out technology on us. Have you heard of Operation Bluebeam?
Of course, yep.
Well, I saw something last night. I debated telling you. You'll probably hang up on me. I live in Birch Bay. Last night, after I watched your show, hung out. It's like 12:30. I go out to have a cigarette, and it's maybe 75 yards away, right on the bay.
Yeah.
I see these pink lights. They were like a fuchsia or like a carnation pink.
Really?
And there were 3 of them. I know. And I'm like, I've lived here 3 years. I've never seen anything like that. And I could tell they're right there on this little parking lot, like 75 feet away, or 75 yards maybe. Okay, so I'm watching it for a couple of minutes, Jeffrey, and I'm trying to figure out, I've never seen lights like this. They look kind of cylindrical. Like they look like round.
Yeah.
They weren't pulsating. And it was like a real warm, dark pink, and there were 3 of them. So I'm watching this, trying to figure out what the fuck, when all of a sudden, what would be like in front of them, from my perspective, like a square cube appeared. And because I'm above them, I could tell it had a thickness. It looked like about 10 foot by 10 foot by maybe 6 inches thick. And this perfect square, like a television, is what it looked like. It appeared, and it had the pink of the lights in the screen and then some black pattern. Okay, I'm out there smoking. I'm kind of moving around. I don't know if they saw me, but all of a sudden I hear engine start, all the lights go out, and a car drives away without its lights on that I couldn't really ever see. So I'm trying to figure out, I couldn't make this shit up. Is it a technology? It is a technology. I saw it. But what's it doing?
That's interesting stuff. That's really interesting stuff. And I don't know if the two are necessarily connected, the car driving away, but they could be. That's fascinating stuff. Looks like we've got an international caller. Let me go ahead and grab them. Thanks for that story. That was a powerful story. Oh, where's the international caller? Where's that international caller? Okay, if I ignore that one, will the international caller pop up? No. Oh, well. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff. I just have some simplicity thinking, and let me tell you what I believe. I really feel this too. I believe that the moon is a reflection of what we live on. I believe that when the invaders came, they put the dome over the area that was once paradise, and the moon is that reflection. And there are some old records, and I can't recall where I've seen this at, but there was a time before the moon, and I think that's something that's interesting.
It is something that's interesting.
I also think that well, and then Elon Musk, he is really big into whatever he's doing, and I think he's going beyond Antarctica. I really do. That's what I think.
That's interesting stuff. I appreciate you sharing it. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hi, Jeffrey. It's Bats in the Belfry.
Hi, Bats in the Belfry. Nice to hear from you. And I got your emails, too. I'm just buried.
Yeah, I can imagine. Right. A couple of things I wanted to have a go at.
Please.
Last answer said something interesting on a previous show to do with the portals. And if I'm not mistaken, she has Native American blood.
She does. Shumash, I believe.
Yeah. Right. Medicine men, right? They know how to shut them down. And at certain times of the year, when the Big Dipper, when the handle hangs low in the sky, lots of these portals are actually opening.
Really?
And it's getting to the stage, yeah. It's getting to the stage now, though, that there's very few of us that know how to shut them down, and the medicine men know how. Now, some of these open, like if I sort of said White Lodge, Black Lodge, Red Lodge,
yeah,
I think the last answer will know what I'm talking about. So some of them are those. Some of them like open to, if you think like Skinwalker Ranch, the Kingdom of Shadows. So there's all kind of weird stuff like that come through. And some of them are to, like say, Celtic tradition, we would sort of say to the other world. So then you're in like the whole realm of, you know, Christ knows, fairies, gods, interdimensional, whatever. Which leads me on to UFOs. Now, I was watching, I can't even remember the name of the documentary, and I didn't even realize this. I don't think most people do, but there was actually disclosure, UFO disclosure, the whole thing that came out, I think it was 2017. They actually did it twice, but they buried it. They buried it like in a time when there was like lots of things going on in the world. So
right.
It was never just like you would think it would be the hugest story ever in the news, and they basically buried it, right? But like UFOs, you can actually like, and I've been doing this for years, and I demonstrated it to my mother one day when we were sort of standing outside my back door. And we were talking about UFOs, and I basically, you just reach out. It's almost like a telepathic thing, you know. And you like Jeffrey, you are advanced enough that you can do this, and you basically just reach out and politely say, you know, invite them to come visit. And as we were standing here, there was a plane that was flying across the sky with a chemtrail behind it. And there was two huge balls of light that were kind of doing like a spiral around the tail of the, like the chemtrail,
right?
Like round the, towards the plane. And I just went, Mum, you know, and she went, oh, you know, because I said to her, you know, like I used to see them all the time, you know, and you can actually get like a CE5 app. I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Stephen Greer.
I have.
But, yeah, I mean, if you're interested in the UFO thing, you can call them. You can do it in groups, or you can do it as a single person, and it's demonstrable.
Do you ever? Are you ever? Do you, Bats in the Belfry? Are you ever concerned that you might call in something that you'd rather have not called in?
Well, I mean, I've been doing it for years, and nothing untoward has happened to me. That's all I can tell you. What they are, I couldn't tell you.
Fair enough.
You know, what I will say is all this stuff with, the likes of David Wilkes and Corey Goode and all the rest of it, I find a lot of it highly questionable. There's a load of channels that are supposedly channeling everything from archangels to, I mean, if they tried to do that, they would be dead. You know,
I agree.
And they're basically saying at the moment that there is some kind of intergalactic fleet, you know, which is above us and cloaked and all this kind of thing. And you know, I've reached out many times, like I say, and I've got nothing from there. I don't think there is anything there. I think it's a huge psyop. You know, I think that whole thing is just a moneymaker, and it's a government psyop.
You know what? I tend to agree with you.
Different, you know, like how the whole Christian thing
is
just a system of control. Well, this is just another game that they're playing. It's just another game. It's another bullshit.
I agree with you 100%. I really appreciate your call. It's always one of the highlights of the show. Please feel free to always call and share what's on your mind. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff, it's Get Dagger. Great show tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it. What's on your mind?
Oh, not much. Just had a rough day with my dad.
Oh, no.
So I just want to thank you for having a great show. Yeah, he fell today, so I had to go pick him up, and yeah, it wasn't pretty. So.
No, that's never fun.
Yeah, no. But as again, listening to the show has picked up my spirits, and I see people kind of making fun. My Toronto, the center of the universe. I know you talked about the Matrix earlier on, and that's where Keanu Reeves is from. He grew up actually went to the same high school my dad did. Actually, he went to De La Salle, the same high school. It's a private school. My dad is actually really smart. You have to either have lots of money, and he got a scholarship to go there.
Wow.
You either have lots of money or be smart like my dad. And I don't know if you know who Mike Wadsworth was. He was my dad's backup actually. In playing football at De La Salle, and then the next, my dad was small, 5'10" or whatever, and then the next year he was, I don't know if you know who Wadsworth is, but he was a linebacker, so he took, I think that's why he passed away young, because he took a bunch of steroids, but he was running the program in Notre Dame for years.
Wow.
When he passed away. But yeah, so just figured I'd give you a little Toronto history. But yeah, I just want to thank you again for lifting my spirits tonight.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thanks a lot, and all of our best to your dad. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Yeah, hello, Steve here.
Hey, Steve.
Wondering, has there ever been any scientific teams, pro flat earther teams that have actually sailed out there, flown out there, etc.? Any of that ever happen?
Well, would you count Admiral Byrd as part of that?
Yeah, I'd have to research that and watch some of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, Admiral Byrd took a whole fleet, including an aircraft carrier, claimed to have sailed into warm waters inside the inner Earth and saw incredible plants and animals and even aerial vessels. So I guess the answer to your question then would be yes.
Okay. You know of any others besides Byrd?
Well, how many do we need to cite?
Well, I don't know. It'd be fun to see as much as we could see.
It would, and I appreciate that. And I'll look and see if there's any more. And if you come up with any, let me know. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Jeff, it's John again in Tulsa.
Hey, John.
You've read the Lynn Wood story, haven't you?
Which one?
It just came out today about him. They wanted to sue him. He wants to sue the lawyers of the bar because the bar is trying to shut his mouth. They're saying that he's mentally ill and he needs to go get mentally evaluated.
Interesting.
Because he was one of the ones that tried to help in the Georgia, turn the election in the Georgia thing.
Right. I haven't read that. I'm not really sold on Lynn Wood, to be completely honest with you. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I'm just not totally sold on him. So I don't pay him a whole lot of attention.
I'm just making the point that they're trying to close his mouth. That's all. I'm not.
And there's, that has to, if you're an objective person, you have to ask, why are they trying to close his mouth? He must be saying something that the Sanhedrin doesn't want people to hear. So I got to give him that.
I want to give you another example that went on with Giuliani. He came out and said they have proof and all this, and they're going to do this. He had a video on that, and right behind that video, a big disclaimer comes up right after that, saying all the things, how the election was fair all the way through. They just one thing after another, and all this stuff is all conspiracy theories. Came in right after he gave the talk about how they're going to prove that they're not done with this. They're going to keep going. I mean, you can't open your mouth that they're not telling everybody that you are something wrong with you and this is not true. And
you're absolutely right, John. I appreciate you calling in with that. And I think it's because they're afraid of us. They know that people have seen that there's something wrong. They know that people are now open to and listening to alternative theories and alternative ideas because they know the media doesn't give anything alternative. And they are afraid that they are going to lose this battle. And they're right. They are right. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty. Please turn down your radio and let's talk.
Yeah, I did. It's down now.
So what's on your mind?
All right. Yeah. Remember you guys were talking about a glass dome over the earth?
I don't know if we talked about that, but there are people that do talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're a pilot, so remember the guy that used to shoot his rockets up into the air? Remember one of the rockets hit the glass dome and it was like stuck up there? Yeah. And then
I don't know. I remember that they said there was a video of somebody hitting the dome. I don't, again, I'm very, very skeptical. And by the way, I'm not a pilot. I was a C-130 crew chief. I was part of an air crew, but I'm not a pilot.
Oh, well, I'm just wondering, every time they shoot off, when they used to have the space shuttle program, they'd always say, we have to wait for a window. What does that mean? Can you tell me?
I think that what they're talking about in that regard is a weather window. The weather conditions have to be correct for it to launch.
I'm just saying because the dome, I thought maybe, that might be interesting.
That is interesting. I don't really know, but that is definitely an interesting thought. And it is late night in the Heartland. We got about 10 minutes left in the show, and we are getting a lot of interaction on DLive and on Facebook, and also, of course, on YouTube as well. Yeah, we could still hear him in the background, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? White Eagle Hodges says it is a plasma dome. And, I'm more apt to believe that rather than it being some type of a physical boundary dome, that it would be more of an energetic type separation between where we are and what else is. Well, we can't get up there and we can't see it, so it's all speculation in that regard. But to me, I like the plasma dome idea better than I like the idea of it being like glass or like Tracy's saying, some type of a force field rather than some type of a physical type boundary. That's my, Carl, I don't need you to tell me what plasma is. We're not talking about anyway, ladies and gentlemen, anybody can be deemed mentally ill. Yeah, I think so. We could all be deemed mentally ill. We could. But in this world, the way this world is and the way things are going on in this world, do you really want to be thought of as anything other than mentally ill? Because if you're in line with the thinking of this world, you probably are. If you're in line with the thinking of the mainstream media, you probably are. If you're in line with the thinking of the popular thinking, you probably are. And Jane L says it is mostly Christians, and it is. Somebody says you need to conceal your freak flag. I don't know if we need to conceal it or not. Abaddon, the rods don't have said several times we didn't go to the moon. It's late night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff, it's Jamie again.
Hey.
I just want to know, here in North Carolina, we've been hearing a lot of boom around everywhere. I mean, everybody in my county is talking about it.
You've been hearing a lot of booms?
Yeah. Like they sound almost as loud as a sonic boom, and they actually feel like they shake your house. Have
wow.
you heard anybody else around here?
I haven't heard anything lately. Now, Cynthia had heard those. Remember those horn kind of things that people were hearing back a few months ago, a couple of years ago, hearing these horn things. Tracy.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, but these are booms. Tracy's weighing in that could they possibly be tunnel combat? Could there be detonations, in DUMBs, DUMBs, deep underground military bunkers? Those make sense to me.
I mean, it could be, but I'm telling you, online here in North Carolina, people are going crazy with these booms.
Could it be a lot of sonic booms? Could there be craft up in your skies?
I mean, no, because, I say sonic boom, but it's not even really like a sonic boom.
But you feel the ground shake, huh?
Yeah, you actually feel the ground shake. That's why a lot of people around here were thinking, well, Well, sometimes you hear these booms before an earthquake, in certain places. But I'm telling you, people are going crazy around here.
I don't have to tell you that North Carolina is a very highly militarized state. Pope Air Force Base, Fort Bragg, lots and lots of military. So the fact, I think they would, Tracy's idea about underground combat taking place, that seems to check a lot of those boxes.
It just makes me wonder.
Makes me wonder too.
With you.
Thank you for calling and bringing that interesting question to us, because it is a very, very interesting question. You feel everything shake with a sonic boom. Yep, you do. Interesting stuff. Do interdimensional beings control our world? No. Well, let me just say they don't control my world. You know who controls my world? This guy. I control my world. I control what's going to happen to me. Yeah, I control it. Abandon says he saw a ship in the sky that looked like a submarine making a cloud around itself. Well, a lot of the original UFO type sightings were sightings of cigar-shaped craft, and that would sound like a submarine to me. So yeah, interesting stuff, and it all seems to have. And when people say it, Jonathan, I know you can't quit me, but I don't have time to entertain your silliness tonight. You can't quit me. I know that parasite in you is making you ask stupid questions, but I know that it's the spark of divinity that's in you that is responding and having to stay here in my show, much like PP, because you guys can't quit me, and I won't quit on you. And I'm going to do my best to stoke up that spark that's in you so that it'll burn up that parasite, and you'll be one of the people writing me a note saying, I'm glad that I was listening to you because I finally saw the light. And you can't quit me, Jonathan. I know you can't quit me. I know you can't quit me. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeffrey. You know the whole thing with the thing crawling up Biden's sleeve?
Yeah.
Okay, well, years ago, I saw this research into the litter boxes in cats.
Oh, yeah.
There's a parasite that makes the crazy cat lady.
Yes, there is.
It makes people like the smell of cat pee. Isn't that fucking nuts?
It is. It is
and
fucking
now we have
nuts.
Another one.
It's crazy shit. It really is. Pardon the pun. And Robert over on YouTube, or excuse me, on Facebook, says that he believes in Bigfoot. He's not joking. He's had encounters. Robert, I've seen a skunk ape in Florida, no more than 10 feet away from me, illuminated by the lights of my dad's car. So I'm with you. I agree. And PP, I know you can't quit me. And I know that parasite makes you keep asking and trolling, but that's okay, because I won't quit on you either. I'll keep stoking up that spark of divinity within you, and it'll burn that parasite out sooner or later. So I know you can't quit me, and I won't give up on you either. That's my pledge to you. My broke back bitches, I won't give up on you. I will not give up on my broke back bitches because they can't quit me, and that's okay. But unfortunately, we're going to have to quit this show because we've run out of time. I want to thank David Weiss for being here, tackling the interesting questions, tackling the hard questions. And we thank all of you that are here seeking after truth. We thank all of the broke back bitches that are here, even though they don't want to be here. But that namaste in you responds to the namaste in me, and we're going to get that parasite taken care of. And we talked about the parasite last night, so you can find out what I'm talking about there. Folks, we'll be back on Monday with another week of podcast excellence. We've got Mike King next Wednesday night. We've got some other guests coming up, and we always have a good time here. We always bring some information that you're not going to get anywhere else here. And where else can you have the nonstop entertainment from the broke back bitches who can't quit me? So we won't quit on them. I salute you for being here, seeking after truth. Tracy, all the other great moderators, I appreciate you so very much. This is Late Night in the Heartland. I want to thank you for making my day, and I want to thank you for making my week. And we'll do some more. Of course, we have the scheduled show Sunday morning, not your normal Sunday. And I've got a lot of stuff stacked up. I want to talk about, I'm going to go over 2 Thessalonians, the man of sin, the son of perdition. Break that down for you. I really appreciate each and every one of you. If you can't quit me, that's all right. I won't quit on you. Late Night in the Heartland, we appreciate you.